end of it. Unfortunately, they no longer have Chen Zhao, so...
And unfortunately, Vala isn't really that good anymore.
Yeah. She is made out of, sort of made out of paper mache at the moment. Very agile paper mache, but it's like a paper aeroplane. That's I think that's a good description. Really, really cool and fun, but if you hit it with anything, it's gonna break.
If you want to keep up the metaphor of using paper in paper mache on the Vala, I think compared to other assassins in the game right now, she's also throwing paper darts at their opponents, because there are other assassins in the game that just deal more damage, are a little bit more tanky, and just fulfill a little bit more, bring more value altogether. Anyway, we're going to dive right into the draft. It has been remade.
Oh, SPT got first ban now.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess it was a display thing wrong that the one chose the map, which would be silly.
Huh.
All the teams have actually swapped sides. No, I don't think they swapped sides.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess the one chose the map.
Yeah, I mean, there weren't really that many battlegrounds left to choose from. It's not like the one hasn't had any success stories, right, on Battlefield. They themselves play a very good Battlefield of Eternity, especially with an aggressive playstyle that could once again feature Genji. And I was already about to suspect a Genji race here, because Melody C2 plays a very lethal Cyber Ninja. So it looks like they still prioritize the Thrall, the Garrosh. Ooh, I might have triggered some Horde fans now. But yeah, although it didn't look good in game number 1, we cannot deny the power level of Garrosh, and maybe they're going to make it work this time.
Yeah, I mean, the Garrosh is still super good. It is insanely good as a hero in general. Teams are starting to work out how to play around it more, which is why it's sort of dropped off, at least a little bit. But he's still probably the most popular tank there is at the moment.
Very true.
That's a good thing.
Very true. So what is the one going to respond with? Again, Uther Genji? Oh. I mean, why not? You know, why do you even try to play something else when the Uther Genji has worked so well against both CE and SPT? Two good reasons why you shouldn't change your strategy. One, it could very well work again. That is the obvious one. Two, you can hide more strategies from your opponents. So if they were preparing any other drafts or strategies, they wouldn't have to show it immediately to SPT. They could keep that for the scrim record.
Yeah. Like, SPT, they need to... Like, not Blaze is my vote for this one. They love Blaze, and Blaze works so well for them. If you're going to go over a second tank, make it Diablo. Make it something like that. Just so that you can lock down the Twilight Dream as well. Just something to lock down Genji. This is the thing that you deal with Genji. You wait out the Divine Shield, and then you lock him down. Even on Nubarak, hard CC, Cocoon Uther prevent the Divine Shield.
Yeah. Exactly. And if you want to go for Malfurion once again, which they do this time, and the Tracer, that could be a nice weapon of choice. But if they do go for the Malfurion, you just cannot even go for Tranquility anymore. Because guess what? Malfurion is inviting all his friends to a nice warm massage. Raindrops will fall upon them and cleanse their wounds. But it's, you know, very slight healing. They can only take care of scratches. But guess what Genji's going to do? He's going to take limbs off you with that Dragon Blade. And Tranquility just heals too slowly to make up for the damage that a slicing Genji with a Dragon Blade will inflict on your team. So it is the Twilight Dream, in my opinion. It needs to be the Twilight Dream.
We keep saying that, though, and guess what? It keeps
keeps losing.
That's also true, but still, I don't know. It's a strange one. It is. I'm sure the teams know better than we do. That's all I can say. But I still find it peculiar as we see Cassia being hovered as a ban. That would be weird. The Greymane makes more sense to me.
Now, I see the conflict, of course, right? I see the conflict that many Malfurion players have. What if I Twilight Dream into the Divine Shield, right? That would be the worst case. But even then, you could get value against the other team members. Even then, you could maybe just, you know, collapse on someone else. And it shouldn't be too hard, really, to time the Twilight Dream well enough to either wait for the Divine Shield, which is the safe route, or just drop it preemptively so Uther can't even drop it in the first place. So either way, guys, we're going to see whether Tranquility can finally win today, or whether it's going to be yet another demise for the team with Malfurion. Anyways, we talk about the Tracer, though, Tencher. That could be a really good weapon to maybe apply some pressure themselves onto the one.
I will agree with that. And just quickly to bounce back to the Malfurion, I think you are accidentally channeling Varian just a little bit here. Just in terms of the trailer for Legion.
Okay.
Where it's literally like just replace the word peace with healing. Like healing is the noblest aspiration. But sometimes to keep doing it, you must be willing to fight.
Very good point, Tetra. I am proud of you. Finally, all these hours we've been casting together have shown that there is a little bit of alliance in you. You just need to awaken it.
Varian was a wise person until he fell off a boat. Or a sky ship, I guess. As we see SPT going with... What's their tank going to be? It's got to be Diablo. They need the targeted lockdown in order to get rid of that Tracer. They're going to hold their tank and goes for the Tychus as their assassin.
Literally the same draft, by the way. Now, if they pick Johanna, it's absolutely going to be a copy of game number 1. But once again, guys, if you demolished SPT the way you did in game number 1, true, it was a different map, true, you may have just caught them off guard, but why would you even change it? The worst case scenario could be a 1-1, and in that case, you would still have even points with SPT. So just test your limits. I think that's what TheOne is trying to do, testing their limits of how far they can go with that specific draft.
Yeah, it's a situation of, oh, is this the best draft? How many things can you really make it work against? So
exactly,
that is certainly going to be the test. SPT, though, they still need... They're pretty open, honestly. Just a solo laner is the only thing they really need.
All right.
But Tracer can run alone.
Yeah, that is true. So are they going to go for yet another support? Maybe a Tassadar, which we have seen in the past? No. They go for Zarya, shielding Artanis in the mix as well, who brings some own his own shields, basically. And they go for make Tracer shine or die trying.
I mean, it's kind of triple tank, but not really. It's a strange comp, very peculiar. I mean, if this was Sunny Lion taking this, we would be ripping them a new one. But the fact is, SPT have the kind of Tracer level power to potentially pull this kind of thing off. So I am excited, and let's see if they can, what they can do with this. I also really like the idea of the Artanis swap into the Garrosh toss. Just completely just chuck someone across the map.
I just want to see Varian here. Shattering Throw, shutting down Artanis completely, shutting down Zarya completely. They still need a main tank. Yeah, I think that could be a good choice.
Wonderful, honestly. He has good single target damage for the Immortal.
Taunt against Tracer.
I completely agree with you. He is fantastic here.
Are we going to see the King of Stormwind? Does he even play him? I can't recall too many Varian games, but it is a logical decision here. So, well played.
Yeah, absolutely. Shattering Throw is going to be a huge deal. Taunt on the Tracer. There is no other hero they could have picked here that would have been even close to as good. And that explains why they saved their tank for last. If they picked Diablo there earlier on when I said they should, they wouldn't have been able to do that kind of move. But yes, Tracer is the perfect pick. No, not Tracer. Varian is the perfect pick for Tracer.
Yeah, the level 4 taunt is going to cause her a couple of headaches. If she finds herself isolated and shut down. Now, I'm going to be honest here, Tetra, and I think that SPT may have overdone it a little bit on the tank department. I think they're going to lack the damage to ever take down someone like Sonya, or even Varian in the late game. Let's see, how many interrupts do they have to the Sonya? Garrosh? And that's about it.
I think Artanis swap counts.
It counts, sure but it's highly unreliable.
It's an interesting one. I think, what are the assassins from the side of TheOne again? I mean, it's Genji
Tychus
and Tychus. So the blind could be pretty decent, especially against an Odin. We will find out as we are heading into game number 2, our last game of the day. TheOne on the left with Hugo on Sonya, Lucky on Tychus, Meng on the Genji, ZJZ on Uther, and Hehe on Varian.
Their opponents going for a very curious draft. Can they make it work with Molly on the Zarya? Melody C is playing the Tracer. Misaka on the Garrosh. Soap is playing the Artanis. And their support, ZZH, on that Malfurion. Now, full protection, full pampering for the Tracer against a very stable, TheOne-ish team composition with Meng on his comfort pick, on the Genji. We should probably call him Menji at this point. Super well done in the previous game. Can they repeat the success? Can they do it again?
So my thoughts on your thoughts about them going to be really struggling to kill someone like Tracer. Their backup tanks, as I will call them, the secondary tanks, as Tracer just takes a big old chunk of damage from Genji, but so does Genji. The backup tanks in the form of Zarya, especially Zarya has a lot of poke damage and can actually deal okay damage in a fight once she's high energy. And Artanis is also pretty reasonable in terms of damage output, assuming he is kept alive. It's damage over time, but it's not terrible. Okay. He is a bruiser.
He is a bruiser. You're totally right, especially in the later stages of the game with Triple Strike. He can actually become quite a threat, and it worries me a little bit that Hugo didn't go for block in the first place. He prefers overall sustain from auto attacks more. Haha, look at what Meng is doing. Learning a few things from Melody C's book here, trying to take down the middle fountain so the enemy team wouldn't be able to retreat during the halftime show. Cheeky little move, but Misaka, he knows exactly how that is going to work out. Meng doesn't have to deflect anymore, and they do what they could in the entire game number 1. They take down the Genji.
You think you could use my own moves against me? Melody C with the Pulse Bomb, it takes out Hugo. Sorry, it takes out Meg. Wow, that is satisfying.
That must feel really good, yes.
Yeah, I love that move. I absolutely love the move. The fact that he was able to disrespect it, took 4 people to kill him like that was really cool in general. It's just one of the big, great things about Genji. But yeah, if he's gonna finish the job, he needs to survive this time. Otherwise, it's not worth. 2 deaths for a fountain is 100% not worth.
Exactly, and also, of course, he was buying a little bit of extra. He's going for round number 2, dashing on jumping over the wall, but this time he's gonna get it. All members are currently occupied, fighting in the side lane. Flashy escape by Meng. Oh, love watching that.
They don't even react that time, but yeah, as long as he lived, that was a completely fine trade, and he did. He is found by Misaka. Oh, the bomb does a lot of damage. Misaka, though, also eats so much damage. The armor keeping him alive, but Melody C chasing down with that move and attack, able to take down the Varian.
All right. So let's see what we're going to see here. The middle fountain now has been destroyed, but at what cost? SPT is almost ahead an entire level because they were able to dominate the lanes with Genji being occupied, being distracted, so he couldn't really go for those early game ganks. Melody C is already invading the Fallen Shaman camp. They know exactly where their opponents are, but it looks like they lack the hitting power. Nope, they're still not letting go. Melody C is flanking again. Varian goes in, taunt lands, but the shield is good.
Yeah, we're level 4 now. The shield is good, but it doesn't actually absorb any damage. It just dissuades any extra chase. We are going with speed shield, by the way, for the Zarya, not going with the potential cooldown reduction that you could get, which could give Tracer more engage opportunities. So it is the active choice of just making Tracer harder to hit in the fight, but it's also very fair. And also using it on Garrosh to give him engage opportunities.
Okay, looks like both bruisers, both Artanis and Sonya, are dealing with the Fallen Shamans respectively. Here goes a lockdown onto Misaka. Looks like they are just taking a lot of damage.
Tanks his way through though, survives, stun onto Varian here as Tracer is just focusing onto Lucky. Gets it with the party gift and is able to back up. Artanis, even more damage onto the backline. Meng's looking for Misaka, but he's just too tanky.
Yeah, there was a 5 versus 4 situation, of course. We could see how the grenades, by the way, by Molly on that Zarya were just hammering down, raining down from the skies onto the one, dealing terrible, terrible damage. Now, this halftime show was going very well for SPT. Now, I think TheOne, they have 2 options to go for. They could try to defend it, or they could just try to cut their losses to minimize their losses here by bringing it down as fast as they can. Unintentional engage for Varian here.
Remember to the race, using the Pulse Bomb on this. They flip in, ZJZ focusing him down and pick up the kill. Down goes Artanis though. The trade, Meng able to pick up that kill as he continues to focus on the backline. Tracer though, doing what she does best, just tick, tick, tick onto Meng's health. It's going to end up being a 1-for-1, but of course that's just going to mean that the Immortal race is going to be won by SPT.
Yeah, and he may actually fall there as well, as both warriors are fighting each other. He dropped very low, but manages to escape for now. They were able to trade kills here. Uther got a little bit of trade value as well. Lucky needs to be careful. The pulse bomb was missing this time, though. So, overall, I think, for how fast TheOne lost the first 50% of that Immortal, they did okay, you know, bringing down the shield to 30%-ish. Should allow them to defend rather well.
Yeah, you can see Tarkus already burning through that shield very quickly. Sonya and Artanis just fighting in the bot lane. Neither of them will gain an immediate advantage, as the Immortal will take down both towers and probably a big old chunk of that fort, actually. But it's unlikely to get the fort itself. Genji's pinging in the shurikens, unless Genji dies here. Deflect is good, able to get out. They turn around, begin to drop the damage. Shuriken Mastery getting stacked up, and because of that distraction, this Immortal will absolutely get the fort.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, that move by SPT basically caused Genji to start sweating under his cyber suit. And they basically had to spend more time saving Genji rather than focusing down the Immortals. So that was a huge move by SPT, allowing them to get ahead even further. We saw a big deflect come out for Genji, but in the end, it was not enough to keep the enemies at bay. Already, look at SPT. They look like a different team right now. This is the SPT we know. This is the SPT that won China 3 times in a row.
They're looking much better. They know this map. This is their forte. And even with this potentially strange draft, they are certainly making it work right now versus the One. But the One, only less than a level behind. They can absolutely come back into this. The fort is down, but they can recover.
Look at Hugo. I think he's sensing something right here. Takes the healing from his level 4. Gets interrupted and stunned yet again. No more spinning to healing. And he ends up falling there. Okay. That would have been an insane survival. But he bought time. He did open the bottom lane for his teammates. And they're probably going to have enough time to take down this bottom fort. 1 death for a fort. That is good value, man.
Permanent damage versus temporary damage. The Sonya will revive that fort. Never will, as you know, until a new game. But in this series, that will never be back. As we see Meng scouting out, being a mobile ward, sees Melody C, potentially sees Misaka.
Oh.
Yes, he does. Pokes a little bit, gains more shuriken stacks. Worth doing as Misaka begins to throw his weight around, putting pressure onto this Fallen Shaman camp.
With that one little distraction move by Hugo, they're back in the business here, and the one that is a minor experience disadvantage here, and it looks like SPT is not brave enough to go in without their level 10s. Both teams are going to hit level 10 in such a short period of time. Misaka was actually hiding in the bush, going for a sneak attack onto Uther. Even taunts the Paladin. Are they going to get the kill? Twilight Ring finally, and they get a kill. Hooray!
It had to happen eventually. Pulse bomb down as well. Lovely kill there by SPT. Garrosh should have died early in the fight, but you see the crazy value between adding Zarya armor, as she added the speed shield onto the Garrosh. Zarya shielding, sorry, and the Garrosh armor. He was so tanky and able to survive that for so long, allowing them finally to set up that Twilight Dream and kill off Uther, followed by the Varian, who did go shield wall to prevent exactly that, but did not have it ready.
Exactly. So this was a good move by SPT. Now Lucky needs to be careful. Drops the grenade, but Garrosh is unstoppable. He shall not be trifled with this time around. Now, there's a lot of disable available for SPT, right? They do have the taunt. They do have the Twilight Ring, the Expulsion Zone, the Suppression Pulse. So many CC debuffs available for them to really mess with the One.
Surprise Varian, in comes the Dragon Blade, Divine Shield as well. They're shredding from Dark. Need to be careful of the Expulsion Zone and the Buzz Stun. A Root from Valkyrie cuts off any follow-up escape, and the Dragon Blade does not get a kill, but that Immortal gets chunked in health during the interim time. Good flip, but it's on Meng. He dashes out. Turning around onto our channel. The Soap is looking for the kill. Now goes the Sonya, immediately taken out. But Soap is nobody maxed out, able to survive. And finally, we will see Meng fall. No deflect at the Root from Valkyrie, setting up for that kill as Melody C looking for CJ there, but he's too far away. This is going to be SPT grabbing the objective. And at this point,
Varian went on a little cruise there.
I'm pretty sure they even just got Pulse Bomb value on the Immortal there, because he actually got put next to it.
Oh my goodness, the Varian delivery service here, even going with a Pulse Bomb on the Immortal. Next level swapping here by Soap on that Artanis all the way, baby. And SPT is back. Misaka right now is playing out of his mind without his toss on the Sonya into the stun zone of the Immortal. I don't think that fight could have gone that smoothly. So everything is just on point here. The protection by Zarya, also Molly redeeming himself, playing so well. I think right now this is a much better composition for SPT. They feel like a whole different team.
They are looking really good right now as they push in forwards. The sieging grenades coming in from Molly as they're moving forward to put pressure on to that bottom lane. The Immortal out of shields.
Yep.
Hugo trying to get a team back into this, soaking top lane. It's a full 5-man push though for them in the bot lane for SPT. They want to try and potentially put damage onto this keeper or pick up a kill here.
Yeah, Zarya is dealing so much damage onto the backline with constant grenade rain on them. Here goes the suppression pulse. Odin is now taken out. He can no longer attack for a couple of seconds. Here goes the taunt as well. Varian is trying to retaliate though. He's trying to absorb some of the damage. Can the Keep survive?
This was not a kill attempt. They were definitely throwing a lot of things. If they got the kill, it would have been great, but the majority of the reasoning for this engage was to be a distraction. If the One are busy trying to not to die, they are not busy defending the Immortal. And because of this, SPT pick up the first keep of the game. Wrapping around. Ricochet on Tracer as they move forward. An auto-attack build even without the Unstoppable here. The Untouchables, they move forward. The speed boost, the 30C gets that shield. Crushing through and taking down CJZ. So much so that Hugo has had to return. He with the shield wall though, staying alive.
Wow, SPT's team composition is sticky like glue. You can never run away from them. The moment Artanis gets a swap, even if you escape that one, guess who's still there to ruin your day? It's going to be Misaka with those Garrosh combos. So well played up to this point. However, Tetcher, true, the keep may be destroyed, but the One are not done just yet. Cute little shurikens, by the way, to just make sure that no one is hiding in that bush. That's something that RPG didn't do 2 days ago, and they lost the game because of it. So the One, they can get level 13 relatively soon. They need to give up this Merc Camp, though. SPT is just too good on the chases right now. They know exactly what One could be, so they give it up. They need 13, and then they can fight on even terms again.
SPT, they just are so far ahead at this point. It's not an insurmountable lead, but they look super good. Interesting that Tracer did actually go with the the Ricochet as opposed to Bullet Spray, even though she's gone for Parting Gift. Like, it's decent for wave clear, and I guess it's better for assaulting the Immortal. It means you don't have to dive the Immortal to do your poke damage against it, which, yeah, right. I'm okay with it. I've talked myself into it.
Looking good up to this point. I really, really like the momentum that SPT is riding currently. Going for a much better game up to this point. Now, this is basically do or die for the One. If they lose yet another team fight the way they did previously, if they lose another Immortal, it could be lights out there trying to make something happen here right now.
Suppression Pulse might just have saved Soulflight, though he goes down to the Immortal stun. Great move here. Dragonblade trying to focus on him early, see if they can take him down. That's most of the damage of SPT's comp. The Twilight Flame, that's like the Odin will fall. It's a 2-for-1 right now as they turn onto the Varian. Wow. Down goes the Garrosh, sorry. And down goes Garrosh. That is a 3-for-1 in favor of the One.
Top lane being pressured though by double mercenaries. Someone needs to go. Someone needs to defend this. In my opinion, it should be Hugo. Could also be the Genji though. Here goes the halftime show. And now look at the value of an ability known as Shattering Throw. Artanis completely shut down. No shields by Zarya. No shields by Artanis to keep him safe and sound. And with that beautiful swift kill, they take the advantage here. 50 armor on that Tychus, blocking so much damage from the Twilight Dream as well. And that was the end of CCH. And all of a sudden, the One at the brink of making that comeback a reality, Tetcher.
And here we see the One taking the Immortal. You can see Verdi C trying to put pressure on, dodges the taunt. They want kills here. SPT were looking to try and grab someone, but they couldn't do so. Steal away the globes, though. That's quite useful. Tychus has been sent back to deal with the Kazuras. But SPT, they're not going to get to defend very far forward. They don't have to defend against the members of the One because they're stuck in their base.
Oh my goodness, 3 catapults. It's very good for Meng to clear this because that could actually have been a devastating push. Once again, actually, the One, they can't really push with this. They're just managing to stabilize and stay alive. Too big is the pressure on both side lanes. 3 catapults, double mercenary camp. I think they're doing the right thing here. They're trying to get that 16 as well. The fort on the top lane that was destroyed, giving them a huge chunk of XP, and already Hihi on the Varian. He's trying to go deep. He's trying to set up an ambush somewhere.
We see the locked and loaded combining with that Ricochet. It's going to give Tracer some great damage output. I'm pretty sure that's the cleansing shield for Zarya. If it is, what a clutch move. I really do enjoy that due to the fact that there's so much lockdown from that Uther, especially from the Varian. How do you save Tracer when you only have Malfurion against the Taunt? Well, you let Zarya do it. And ZJZ is getting chunked from the Divine Shield. It is last breath onto Genji. But Genji not comfortable with Dragon Blade. Twilight Dream is good, and this time SPT don't even let it get close. They take down Hiki, and that is just going to be Lucky and Meng. Final survivors. Meng, he's trying to juke, he's trying to buy time. But SPT, they're moving on to the core. The surprise Lucky from behind. Meng is dying to the catapults, he can't port. And as such, SPT, they're going for the core.
Yeah, they're going for the core. They haven't lost a single member. Everything is looking good. And keep in mind that triple strike plus amateur opponent on Soap is nuts crazy damage on the core. So if they don't take out Artanis, and if they lose, of course, more members, it's going to be lights out here. SPT played so well in game number 2 after getting absolutely dismantled on Towers of Doom. They come back in fulminant fashion, looking strong, looking good, looking like the triple Chinese champions.
But with the 1-1 score, both these teams remain in second place. They were not able to get closer, any closer at all to CE, and that means, Kendrick, we had a full clean sweep. Only 1-1 scores for the entire day.
I mean, that is our first one, right? That is our first day with exclusively going 1-1 in every single series. A couple of those series could have probably been a little bit more clean and crisply played by some of the teams, especially RPG, in my opinion, was a big letdown today. CE also struggling a little bit against Beyond the Game, but overall it's safe to say that China is as competitive and close as it's ever been. So so many teams have stepped it up. We have to mention Beyond the Game. We have to mention KT. Those are diamonds in the rough, and even TheOne, like playing a tie twice in a row against the two top dogs, CE and SPT, is just another sign of their ultimate strength.
Yeah, that's huge, huge news for them. And the fact that they're still within chasing distance of both of the top two as well, considering, as far as we can tell, only 2 teams are going to mid-season brawl from China. Being in that top 2 spot is very important for playoff positioning, having to fight less games so that you can be fresher in your game, less tired. And as such, it's a coveted position to fight over. Right now, CE will remain 2 points ahead of both of the teams of TheOne and SPT.
Yeah, and CE is going to be like, whew, we're lucky this time. Good thing our rivals also weren't able to really settle the score, and they also were a little indecisive going 1-1. So we maintain our 2-point lead, as Tetris said already, which means that ultimately all rankings in China will remain the same. If you only have 1-1s, well, there's nothing's going to change. That's the beauty, and sometimes the ugliness about draws. But hey, let's face it, we're going to have way more games to go. Actually, we're going to have tomorrow, and we're going to have the week after as well as our final week of regular play. And then, if I'm not mistaken, we're going to have the playoffs right off the get-go, Tetra.
I believe so. We don't have official. I at least have not been handed a schedule. Oh, I've seen a thing that just says complete schedule. I'm going to click it. Just not in the email or anything, but on a thing. Oh, it's in Chinese. Okay.
Okay. But and
it's in, like, it's numbers. Picture Chinese. It's picture Chinese. I can't translate this.
Can you find numbers? Dates, that is?
Sorta? Yeah, there are numbers there. Like 4 for the 25th, maybe. Okay, okay. So there's words that look very similar, which I assume is just group play, and then from the 23rd of the 4th to the 25th of the 4th, if I could speak words today, that has a different word.
So that
just that week,
and it's only 3 days as well. So maybe that's playoffs. Yes. Is there anything after this? Because that would be the last. That is the only schedule that there is. That is one picture, and that's it. I will send it to you in a bit. Okay, cool. So, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like we're probably going to have our playoffs from the 23rd to the 25th, according to Detective Tetcher.
If I could translate the word, I could absolutely tell you.
I can also just ask.
I also can't put the picture. I also can't put the picture in the chat. So, bam, there's the picture for you in our personal chat. Okay, you can see what I mean. Like, all the words are the same for the dates that are group stage, but there is one word there's a different word on the week that we don't currently have anything scheduled for.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're probably going to receive official confirmation relatively soon, because I asked our chat group with the Chinese production team inside what the status is. For now, though, we're going to focus on Professor No, also known as Nostally, one of the Chinese legends. And yes, Melody C, Looks like the absolute star players from both teams are sharing MVP votes here, and I wouldn't want to give it to any other person because if you die 0 times against the Varian as Tracer, you know you did everything right. But before we move on to BOE and the shining moments of SPT, let's take another look at how TheOne dismantled their opponents on Towers of Doom.
They've also managed to fix the video thing, the telestrator here, so good for them. So, SPT, setting up for a defensive position. This is the first or second time I think this is raided, because it happened a lot. This is the second time, because this is where the Dragon Blade just kind of wrecks them.
Yeah, and this is of course where Malfurion hasn't chosen his heroic ability yet, so he's still debating, should I go Twilight Dream and maybe win the team fight, or should I just go Tranquility again and bait my team into our own demise? Well, looks like CZH win for the Tranquility. I'm gonna be. Did they pick Twilight Dream again, number 2, and did they win the game or not?
Touche. I would argue that's a small sample size. I'm not saying I don't agree with you, because I do agree with you, but they are professional players.
Exactly, of course. I'm getting a little bit too feisty, of course, as Tetris said, but you know, at some point, I think you just need to be willing to experiment, and if you do, you can reap the great rewards. And let's face it, against a Dragon Blade Genji, if you go for Tranquility, you're basically telling your teammates to group up, and guess who's going to receive massive value here? Not only Hehe, but also the Genji. And the result of this team fight that is going to be shown here relatively soon. By the way, also, Soap was nowhere to be found. He had to go all the way through. So yeah, this is now the demise of SPT.
And you can see them just pushing straight in, preparing for that Divine Shield Dragon Blade. Not being used yet. It still tilts me a little bit that Garrosh's Groundbreaker, or Earth Shatter is that talent name, icon isn't actually the same as the talent icon when the quest is complete. But you can see here, Tranquility is active. Melody C is currently super low and has moved back into position, but guess who's next to him now? It's the Golden Boy himself, Dragon Blade, Divine Shield Meng.
Yeah, and now, of course, with Meng swinging his Dragon Blade, there's so much attention onto him that they completely forget about Lucky and Hugo, who's currently sitting at almost full HP. Now, Melody could try to maybe go into the bunker, but even if he does, that won't heal him. That won't continue to heal. He even gets taken out before he even reaches the bunker. And here goes Meng, getting one, dashing out to safety to basically let his teammates now absorb a little bit of damage, to bait a little bit of cooldowns, and he's going to re-engage very shortly, though.
And everyone's just grouped on the point at this point. Everyone's standing in exactly one spot, so guess who's going to get all the AoE damage they want? Yep. It's going to be Lucky. He just sieges in. Sonya's spinning away merrily, and you can see everyone from SPT realizing the fight was over, trying to split out to not be on the point and taking that AoE damage. And they get picked off one by one.
And Hehe, by the way, completely out of mana, completely out of health on the Johanna. He did his job. He was doing what he was meant to be doing, tanking all that damage. Now, we're going to move on to game number 2 here, which went way better for SPT. There was a shimmer of hope for TheOne, though. I think it was this very team fight where they, for the one and only time, looked pretty okay.
You see the suppression pulse nicely dropped here by SPT as a opening to the fight, and Misaka has a wonderful wraparound positioning here. That's a good start to the fight.
That's a good start, but Soap gets taken out, and that is also a good start for TheOne to continue the fight. Now, Odin, that is something that Soap has been doing throughout the entire game so well, always landing the blind when Odin was popped, right? And if you can't use Odin's basic attacks for the first 4 seconds of a team fight, you're going to find yourself crippled quite a bit. Now here, Artanis goes down. He can't even go back all the distance because his second location was already body blocked completely by the Varian. So well done here with a shattering throw. No more shielding goes through. And that is an early kill against one of the frontliners, which is so nice. Now, trying to look at the bottom lane here. Lucky goes to safety, gets healed by Uther. The warm touch of the holy light. Feels good.
Yeah, and the parting gift from Melody C, dropping very nice AoE damage onto the group. And like you said, that's what we have been waiting for. He has no health, was so close to dying before he got it off, which could have absolutely turned that team fight. But it only takes one good old Twilight Dream Misaka is in position, moves in, he's ready, dropping the damage, and at that point it's just up to Zarya just to turn around and deal damage. And TheOne, they do take that fight pretty nicely, but the Twilight Dream showed its potential there, just maybe a little bit earlier next time.
And the sad story here for TheOne was, of course, they won the team fight, but if you look at the minimap, we see double cam pushing top. 3 catapults were already rolling towards the core in the bottom lane as well. So although they won that fight so handsomely, in hindsight, they weren't even able to push with that Immortal, right? Because they had to take care of the core. They had to take care of the top keep in the first place. And there was a little bit of a misplay by Hugo, in my opinion. If Sonya had gone there a little earlier, her superior wave clear could have maybe made all the difference there. Instead, they had to send Genji, they had to send Tychus, and those heroes just take so much longer when it comes to dealing with mercenaries, when it comes to dealing with catapults. So a little bit of a macro misplay, but overall that team fight really shows the strengths of TheOne and how you can never count them out.
That it did. So,
by the way, sorry to cut you off, but I